Recording in progress.
All right. I believe we have time to begin the meeting, so I'm going to call the meeting to order and ask our secretary to call the roll.
Scott Osbrook. Present. Lawrence Bengal. Here. Judy Brascom. Here. Chris Colplager. Here. Al Eckert. Here. Joe Fox. Here. Richard McMullen. Here. Doug Melton. Here. Rusty Moss. Here. Chris Racy. Here. Robert Reynolds. Here. Richard Roper. Here. David Vandergrift. Here. Wes Ward. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. First item on our agenda is approval of February 25, 2023 commission meeting minutes.
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion for approval of the minutes. So here's a second. Second. We've got a second. I hear no objection. Ask all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Next item on our agenda will be the chief administrator report. Celine.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I'm Julie Link, Chief Administrator, Department of Environmental Quality. I'm so excited to see everyone live here today and welcome Al and Judy Branscombe to our commission. I've known them both in different parts of life, so what a great addition the governor's made to this commission. And I guess, Chris, this is your first live meeting? Chris Racy, okay. They told me that, Chris, I was like, I thought you'd been there before, but you, Chris, part of my report, I think for the first time in the 8 years that I've been at DEQ, and I know we've gone through permutations now, E&E, but we were invited to start participating with your commission, and my associate director, Bailey Taylor, and I will both be there. And I want to personally and publicly thank you for allowing us to be partners with that. We've seen some really great progress when we can partner with you all. And I know Secretary Ward knows this, but some of our work together, we have been able in the state of Arkansas to change the grid of hiring engineers. And so special thank you to the Department of Agriculture for working with us on that. That is a problem that is going to get worse and worse and worse. The amount of infrastructure money that we have, that all states have, there is a demand for engineers. We could compete oftentimes because we could offer a great quality of life as a state agency and retirement, but with remote work options and some of the fast forwarding COVID has done on allowing people to live and work wherever they want, we are often having to advertise positions for four entire cycles and maybe getting one or two qualified applicants. So as a state, it's something that I'm worried about generally in state public service, but specifically in some of our technical positions. With that, I have some really exciting new additions to our staff that I want to point out to you all as we go forward. But my right in the back, well, did he move? Oh, here he is. To the David Withrow, if you'll stand up. David Withrow was our associate director in the land division. He is filling some big shoes in we call them airheads around here, but Will Montgomery, who replaced Stuart Spencer, who's now at Tyson. David is switched from Office of Land Resources now into the Office of Air Quality, and a huge lift. As you know, we have the SIP and now the FIB. And so look for David, but he left a big hole in land. So with that, I can introduce his replacement, Nick Jones. And both engineers, we need to keep them. We're very excited about them. Nick will be the Associate Technical Director in our Office of Land Resources. We also have a really great addition to our legal staff that I know Chief Administrator Bingle knows from a former life, but Mark Robinette and perhaps Commissioner Eckert, you know Mark Robinette from the old days. So we were very excited to get him from private practice to join our legal team. He hit the ground running. With that, we've had several big things happen throughout the, I guess since we've been last together. Secretary Keogh is basically on the Halo tour. I don't know if any of y'all have caught her act with the Secretary of Energy and Environment for the state of Oklahoma, Ken Wagner, and their equivalent in Louisiana. Together, they are making a pitch for one of the 4 hydrogen hubs that President Biden has committed to funding in the next 2 years. HALO is an acronym that stands for Hydrogen, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. And these are not your traditional hubs in the sense of a physical location, but it is to advance and showcase hydrogen technology and support the process. Things that they're looking for in this funding, which, and Larry will probably be able to tell you all more about that. He's our point person, but the secretary and Ken and Jason from Louisiana have positioned us, at least from all accounts, that we will probably be one of the 4 initially funded. They could fund up to 8 of them. And I believe the first funding will be at about $4 billion. Is that right, Larry? Yeah, so I think Texas is trying to get in on the deal, but we're kind of on that. We don't have to be the fastest zebra. We just have to stay away. Right now, the EPA is fighting Texas more than us, but we're just staying back from them. But I think it's always a good compliment there if they're wanting to join that. So I know the secretary will be excited to let you all know her progress on that. Something that I think, we're all team Arkansas, but my middle child goes to college in Colorado and is very interested in this hydrogen project. He said that one of his professors has been working on this, and the Western states were really the front runners to be the first funded. And even the professors at University of Colorado are saying now that they believe that the HALO hub is in the most strategic position to be funded. So a great compliment to Secretary Wagner and Secretary Keogh for putting us out there and getting us aligned. All of our governors have signed a memorandum of understanding. The 3 governors, Governor Edwards began some of this in Oklahoma, and I know that all 3 governors, Louisiana now is considering themselves purple, which is kind of nice to have a Democrat governor, but a Republican legislature. But we bring some really neat things to the table with the indigenous population of Oklahoma, our waterways, and the different natural resources that the 3 states have. So that's something huge that I would like you all to follow. And if you know of any experimental or projects that hydrogen could be used, it's time to start bringing those forward. Other big things that we've had one of our largest public participations, the Paradise Valley subdivision. I think there were 200 people. Is that right, Lucy? Around 200 people. The comment period closed on Friday. Our technical staff is reviewing that. Regardless of the outcome of that permit, I think it's a great win when we have that kind of live participation, and we can make better permitting decisions with that. And I appreciate your time. I scheduled a meeting at the Capitol with Andrew Collins to talk about the Arkansas River, and I told him any day but Friday because we have commission meetings, and y'all moved your commission meeting. If there are any questions, I'll try to answer them. If not, I need to get to the Capitol.
Do we have any questions?
Commissioner Melton's already got me before I could get out.
When could we anticipate the delivery of our rules matrix for this month?
I do not know. You did not get it. Yes. So I don't know. I don't know if y'all know this, but I have been out with COVID for about a month. And so this is really one of my first, I think I have what they determined to be long COVID. So I have no idea.
We anticipate the delivery.
Okay. Yes. I will make sure they're delivered to you today. So you have been getting them regularly before though, correct? Okay, so I apologize for that oversight. I've been somewhere near alive and comatose though for about a month. So with that, yes.
Not sure why Commissioner Melton didn't get the rules matrix, but I did.
Okay.
Check my email again.
Okay.
Please. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that we have tried to institutionalize that. So if there was a mistake, I apologize. But I've literally been off the grid on all of that. So hopefully, are you happy with the form?
Include that in our packet. I think it'd make it a whole lot easier for everyone.
Okay, well, I appreciate the suggestion and we'll make that happen. Anything else?
Any other questions? Thank you,
Okay,
Administrator.
thank you all, and I apologize for having to leave early, but generally we find making legislators happy helps us as an agency. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Administrator Link mentioned we have some new commissioners at this meeting, first live meeting we had with them. I think we'll take a short period to introduce them. Let's see, all here on my left. Chris Racy has been a commissioner for a few months, but we hadn't had a live meeting. Chris, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. First of all, it's an honor to serve with this commission. I represent the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission as the designee. Director Austin Booth asked me to serve in that role on the fish and wildlife side. So it's really important to us what this body does and what E&E does for our state. Very critical, and we're plugged in across the agency in many ways. So really important to us. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in Western Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. Moved to Arkansas about 23 years ago to come to the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff to get a master's degree in fisheries and aquaculture. So trained up as a fisheries biologist, came to the Game and Fish Commission in 2005, and then have moved my way up to the chief of staff role that I now just under the director of the agency. So really glad to be here and excited to contribute and serve this body and our citizens across the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. Racy. Commissioner Eckert, Al Eckert is another of our new members.
Thank you, sir. This is kind of like coming home to me a little bit because from 92 to 02, I served as an attorney out here and was chief counsel for a few years. And after that, I worked for 17 years with the Quattlebaum law firm practicing environmental law. So bringing people before this body. And since then, I've been the last few years working in-house with First National Title Company. So I've also had the pleasure and privilege to serve on the Petroleum Storage Tank Trust Fund Advisory Committee for the last few years, which advises the director on all the cleanup of all underground tanks in the state and the reimbursement for that, and work with the staff on that. So really looking forward to being on this commission. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Glad to have you. Commissioner Branscombe.
Well, this will be short. I'm basically a citizen of Arkansas. I don't have a long pedigree of being this, that, or the other. I'm born in Monticello. I grew up here in North Little Rock. I went to college at Fayetteville, and now I live in Marshall. So I've been all over the state, and I love it. And when I was asked to take this position, I couldn't say no, because one reason is I have worked here. I got to work here for about 2 years and recently retired and thought I was retired, but somehow I'm back. I'm not quite sure. But if it's a way to serve the state, then I'm happy to do it. And knowing the people that I see in this room, like I had said before, and having worked with them, it gives me a level of confidence to know that my state is well taken care of, and these type of agencies and departments and everything. But that's basically it. I'm in Marshall because I married a boy that I met at college who is a cattle rancher, and you just don't move the farms. So there you go.
Thank you.
But happy to be here. Thank you. Love to learn from all of y'all.
Thank you. Glad to have you.
Oh, and I made cookies.
That's good. Next item on our agenda will be public comments. We've had 3 people who have signed up to speak to us today. Angie Russell, first on our list.
You can switch around too if you want. If you the presentation
got it set up.
Okay.
We're going whatever order you like to go.
Thank you. My name is Angie Russell, live at 1497 Arbor Acres in Tawnytown, Arkansas. The three of us are part of a citizens group, and I'm just kind of speaking, Mark, so you can get a chance to get that set up. So we would like to speak on the concerns from Ecovista Waste Management.
Yes, please, let's do that part.
Thank you.
Difficult here.
Hope you guys all are doing well this morning.
Sorry, Angie, I had this all set.
Oh, good. You're just, the longer we wait, the more comfortable I get, so we're all good.
Is it gonna come up? Mr. Chairman, we're gonna have some more volume, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I can get closer whenever I start.
Pull that on down there closer to you.
I usually have a really loud mouth. That's what I was afraid of. That's why.
Thank you.
Is that better? Should say, is that better? Okay.
Right here. Is it gonna come up on this way? Okay.
I think it's good. Look at the top over here.
Could it be?
Mark, are you ready?
Ms. Russell, I'm going to start your time now, okay?
Okay, thank you, sir. Hello, my name is Angela Russell. I live at 1497 Arbor Acres Avenue in Tawnytown, Arkansas. My husband and I built our dream home over 30 years ago on his family's property. We never imagined that we would be experiencing horrific gassy vapors. They're toxic. They are inside and outside of our home. There's trash blowing everywhere, red clay, muddy roads. It's all caused by the rain and the slush that's running directly from the trucks from Waste Management. We've had multiple flat tires, many broken windshields from debris and trash left from the trucks from Ecovista landfill. For years, the citizens of Tawnytown have been experiencing issues with Waste Management landfill, and they are continuing to worsen every single day. In December of 2021, there were over 100 dead birds on my property and the surrounding properties of Waste Management. I stopped counting at 100, and I did it myself. There was other people helping, but I counted over 100. Game and Fish came and retrieved 4 of the birds for lab testing. The results showed that the birds appeared to be in adequate health, suggesting that they did not die from starvation, but rather from a rapid onset of something toxic. The toxology report suggests that they may have died from a caffeine therobrine exposure, which are compounds generally found in chocolate. However, it does not mean that it could have come from other toxins from the landfill, since the landfill is so close and directly next door. I've had beautiful 25-foot Leland trees behind my house and beside my home to block the view of Waste Management. They are all dying. But what is unique about this is that they are starting to die from one side, the side that's facing Waste Management. It's like a chemical burn on my trees. And remember, this is in my backyard. My family and my friends, my surrounding neighbors, we are all breathing this same air. Waste Management planted several trees surrounding their property, which are also dying. The toxic gases and odors are horrible. And I'm not talking about just the sour, trashy smell that you smell when a trash truck drives by. I'm talking about toxic gases. They literally penetrate through the walls of my home. Once you start to smell these toxic gases, you become dizzy, you have headaches, and immediate nausea. For months, I could not sleep in my own bedroom because my bedroom is the one that's facing Waste Management's, the landfill. Last month, I woke up around 3 a.m. and I felt like someone was literally choking me. I tried to get out of bed and walk to another room, but I was so dizzy, I stumbled and fell into the door frame. I'm afraid to go to sleep in my own bed.
because I'm afraid of waking up, choking, or maybe not even waking up at all. This is not right that we have to live like this. Citizens have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on their lands and homes, and we cannot use them because of these horrific vapors that are emitting from the waste management landfill. On October of 2020, Waste Management and Tawnytown citizens started meeting monthly to discuss the issues and concerns. For a year and 5 months, they were made aware of the issues citizens were having. In March of this year, Waste Management decided to stop meeting with the citizens. They exhibit blatant disregard for neighbors and by law are not adhering to codes. They have had plenty of time to make things better and enact policies, but they have chosen not to do so. They need to be held accountable. When Waste Management first opened, they were in a rural area. They are now within the Tawnytown city limits with houses, subdivisions, and schools within a mile or so. Waste Management is currently seeking an expansion. They cannot control what is going on in the landfill right now. Why in the world would we allow them to expand? They have had liner breaches, leachate leaks, and which is threatening our environment, which has been proven that the geology of Northwest Arkansas does not support the landfill because it is on a karst formation. With this knowledge and the residential growth in this area, there is no way a new landfill seeking approval would be permitted at this current location. That, along with the gases, the odors, and the vapors emitting from this landfill is an extreme health hazard to our citizens. ADEQ has over 100 complaints in the last 9 months. They have repeatedly failed us, and we have asked them to please try to control these issues. I ask you, I beg you, please do not allow the landfill to expand in Tawnytown. It is really a hazard, a health hazard to the citizens of Tawnytown, and we are here in Arkansas. And I just ask you, please do not allow this expansion to pass. With these issues, they should not be allowed to. Thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate you listening to me. Does anyone have any questions? I would like to add one more thing. I've lived in my home for over 30 years. My husband, Bobby, and I have been married 32 years, and he's been on that land for over 60 years. So it's not like we just moved in by a landfill. I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Mayor Russell, for starting us off. Good morning. I'm Mark Calcagney. I live at 12642 Harbor Acres Road, which is about a half mile west on the same road as Ecovista Waste Management. I've lived there 34 years when the landfill did not have a sign. Matter of fact, the landfill was a private individual that allowed people to fill in a hole at first when we first moved out there. Then Sunray Sanitation shamed them or scared them into, that you're doing something illegal, and they bought the property from this individual. Then Sunray was purchased by Waste Management. So I've been there before Sunray and before Waste Management. And I just want to say thank you for allowing us to have public comment as we represent CASE, which is Citizens Advocating a Safe Environment, along with 1,200 plus citizens who had signed a City of Tawnytown petition against the expansion of Waste Management. Our concerns are with health and safety. And I know this group is concerned with health and safety, as this area is no longer rural. And I'm hoping to show you that what it looks like now, if any of you have not been up there in a while, and it's growing rapidly. It's not the same as it was 30 years ago, by no means. We have dealt with terrible odors, gas, debris on the road, blowing trash, which you've seen pictures of, heavy truck traffic alongside residential traffic. My first slide is an aerial view of the landfill. You can see the landfill in the middle of the screen, and you'll see that purple line that's in there. It looks like a backwards L. That's the proposed expansion. If you notice the red circle around the landfill, that's a 2-mile radius. If you see those yellow dots are houses. Now, this aerial view picture was taken place in June of 2018. And in 2018, it looked like this, but it sure has changed in the last 4 years. Okay, this side here is a little busy, but if you could follow the red arrows around, you'll see the progression of houses being built in a mile radius of the landfill. And you can see, where these housing additions are. And you can see there's multiple housing additions that are being built. If you look at the right top corner, there, the picture of that's a new elementary school. That elementary school opened up this last August. So it's almost within the 2-mile radius. So you have not only traffic of this growing area, residential, you have heavy truck traffic with 18-wheelers, trash trucks, dump trucks moving up, and then along with residential, which is kind of scary to me. But this is what's going on in Tiny Town, and everybody for some reason all want to live in the Tiny Town area. This is a slide here of 4 new housing additions that are being built in Tiny Town, which within a mile and a half of the landfill. And you can see, the homes. Before these 4 housing additions were built, there was 12 housing additions that were less than 2 miles away from the landfill. Again, here's another slide of a current housing built, and this was taken about 3 weeks ago. What's going on? So you can see there's a lot of activity that are going on in Tiny Town. This is a large housing addition here, which is only 1 mile north of the landfill. Remember, I mentioned that 1,200 signatures many of these signatures, Angela and I got the petition signed in this area. Most of these people complained about the smell and the odor. Again, it's north of the landfill. And of course, the wind comes out of the south. So these people, they really take it on the chin with the odors. Again, here's another housing addition, but this is going to be my last slide here. You can see at the top of the screen, you'll see that brown spot. That's the landfill. So this one here, these houses are just north. This new housing addition just north of the. Actually, it's just north of the landfill. And what I want to show here is that this road here that you see in front, it comes off of 412. And 412 connects Siloam Springs, Tiny Town, and Springdale together. And it's either the second or third most congested highway. And supposedly, and that's why I say supposedly, that's where the trucks are supposed to come into. They're supposed to use Clinch Road here, as you can see. Not a lot of times do they use it, but that's the road designated for them to use. And supposedly that's the road that Waste Management is supposed to keep up. But I want to show this picture because, again, it's a busy area. And, the 3 of us from Case, Tiny Town, feel it's important enough to be here to share our concerns, as I know you and ADQ strives to enhance and protect health and environment by safe management of waste substances through rulemaking, permitting, compliance monitoring, and enforcement. This area has endured this land for over 40 years. And as you can see, it's too populated for a landfill. And we don't feel like Waste Management is very compliant. When I talked about compliant monitoring, we feel the landfill cares more about their cost than health and safety of the neighbors. And as in the last 3 years, the conditions near the landfill have worsened. Today, you will see why this landfill should not expand. Again, thank you for this opportunity to speak to this group. I'd like to turn it over to Kenneth Lovett, who worked for Georgia Pacific in Crossett, Arkansas for 27 years as a crew member, production supervisor, chemical division training coordinator. He understands process, regulations, requirements necessary to keep a process under control. Again, thank you for your time. I don't know, anybody have any questions?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commission. Congratulations to the new members. My name's Kenneth Lovett, 18702 Clearwater Road. I live I live a half a mile from the working face of the landfill. We have emission issues in our community. What I believe is emissions from the waste gas plant that's right there close to Arbor Acres Road. We need to know who is responsible after these emissions leave that stack. I know Arkansas has regulations to test the stack, but once it leaves there, it's left for the environment to handle. And our problem is with different atmospheric conditions. On December the 29th, I had my first experience with it, and I was just driving down the road with the windows up. I pulled up to the intersection right there beside the waste management, immediately got a headache and nauseated, and I pulled down the road a little ways, turn around and come back, just trying to check things out. But I think I'm a little bit behind here, I'm sorry. So this is my first, you can't see it all on the screen, but it says 12/29/2021. And it gave me an immediate headache, nausea, and we need to have air monitoring done in that area. And when I say air monitoring, I'm requesting parts per million. So I need to know who is responsible for the air once it leaves that stack, and how do I communicate with them, and how do we get parts per million per what is released. And what is released, I talked to Mr. Stephen Foster with the ADQ, and he said, to answer your question, the emissions released is as follows. It's particulate matter, PM and PM10, SO2, VOC, CO, NOx, and HAPS, which includes a lot of different gases. But whenever you are driving down a road with your windows up, and all of a sudden you get nauseous and a headache, it scares you. And there needs to be somewhere, somehow, this stuff is tested. And I recently got a notification in the paper on a permit requirements or something for atmospheric Arkansas network of atmospheric testing. Arkansas Ambient Air Monitoring Network. And this network is all over Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee, I believe it is. But they have a network around Little Rock that has all the testing requirements that we need, but we need them in Tawnytown. We need them on the fence line close to waste management. We have some in Springdale and Fayetteville. They're over on the east side of town. We're on the west side of town. But in the Little Rock area, tested on Pike Avenue at River Road, it includes PM 2.5, PM 10, ozone, NOx, NOY, I'm not sure exactly what that is, specification, trace SO2 and CO2. In Springdale, we have PM 2.5, PM 10, and ozone, and it's on the east side of town. So I did email, and I cannot think of his name right now, Mr. Druss, possibly. But I don't know if y'all can connect with those people or how to get this going. But, you know, it needs attention, and I don't know how to get it. And I have lost again. Okay, so Boston Mountain approved a certificate of need. Tawnytown approved the expansion of the landfill. And Miss Crusher and Mr. Jones are checking out the specifics of moving forward. And Ms. Crusher and Mr. Jones, I sent them an email last week, and I'm not following my page, are we? I sent them an email last week, and you know, let me just follow this. here is a photo of what I was driving by, and it looks to me like it was just over the landfill specifically, but you can see what I call the ozone ring. I don't know that that's what it is because I don't have a test for it. But we need someone that can test and see what this is hovering over the landfill. It drove around 360 degrees, and it was over the landfill. You could not see the ring on the opposite side because she was on the opposite side of the sun. But when you come around on the northeast side, this is the picture that I've got from that. Ozone, like I say, I believe this is possibly part of a problem. NOx, you got all kinds of emissions coming off. The night that I was there, in the first pictures, you've seen the haze. The haze was over the ditch. It was a real foggy night, real damp night, but it was right there on the ground. It was in your face. And this is another person. Okay, should I go? Y'all have papers? You can go through and see this. This fellow's on Ball Singer. And he said it burned his throat. And there's Angie's dead trees, and there's some new dead trees. That's the second planting. That was the first planting. Every other tree at least is dead. All of those were, and I'm sorry. This is the face of the landfill. It looks like they have two working faces. Do y'all mind if I go ahead just a second? Is that okay? I'll just run through the rest of these slides and stop.
We need to hold up time here. Okay, we'll give you 30 seconds to wind down.
Okay, I appreciate that, sir. This is the landfill's face itself. It looks like they have two, as you can see. Right here, they have a hole dug in this spot that's broke through the cow. I don't think that's appropriate. Here you have the bull fences, trash all over it. The neighbors, cows eating trash, and you can't see it right here with this, but you have trash hanging in the tree a mile away from the landfill. And this is in the notification or the special report from 2022. Says a conflict exists. Tiny Town shouldn't have it because of the karst formation. Okay. All right. And y'all have all that information. But this is, yes, I appreciate you. That is a test of the karst, and it run into our.
Mr. Levitt, and Dan got some questions. Mr. Levitt.
Yes, sir. Anybody have any questions, Mr. Levitt?
Actually, I have one, Mr. Chairman. If I could, Mr. Levitt, did you state that the certificate of need and the expansion has already been approved by the district for this facility?
The certificate of need for the expansion from Boston Mountain has been approved.
When did that occur?
Last year.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you all. We always appreciate public comments. Have the public here to speak to us. I've talked to a couple of before the meeting, and I told you the commission really doesn't have authority over any of these matters that you've discussed here today. And certainly glad you brought it to our attention, public's attention, but I'm afraid there's nothing this commission can do for you today on this matter. We have no legal authority to proceed. We wish you the best. Please come back anytime if you wish to make a comment. You're always welcome.
Sir, can you tell me who we need to speak with?
Ma'am, I really can't because that would almost be giving you legal advice. The Department of Energy and Environment, I'm sure can help you, and I would refer you to them.
Mr. Chairman, could you turn on your microphone? Because that's what Beth is coming up here to let you know.
There we are. I'm sorry. Didn't see my light. I would refer you to the Department of Energy and Environment. They can give you guidance on that. Thank you all. Appreciate you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is a resolution. I would like commission to consider. I'll read it if I could. Whereas Miles Goggins on the Arkansas Pollution Control and Ecology Commission His term ended March 29, 22, and whereas his departure marks the end of 7 years and 9 months of service on the commission, which began on June 24th, 2014. And
Whereas his actions in his official capacity as commissioner have helped to promote and secure a better environment for the state of Arkansas and its citizens.
therefore be it resolved that the Arkansas Pollution Control and Ecology Commission hereby expresses its sincere appreciation to Miles Goggins for his service to the commission and wishes him well in all of his future endeavors. I hear a motion on this resolution.
Second.
Motion is second on the resolution. All in favor, approved by, show by lifted hands. Thank you, Pierce.
Who's first and who
Unanimous.
was second?
Motion second.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Goggins, would you mind coming forward, please?
Cleveland County's fine.
To the West Commission, here, 7 years, conscientious, oil, third, state of Arkansas. Especially the year that you were our chairman, during COVID times, very difficult to run a public meeting. Miles kept us together and ran the meeting fair and open way as the law requires. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Wish you the best. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to pass the resolution around and ask that it be approved by all of the commission members. Next item on the agenda will be the Rule 27, the licensing of operators, solid waste management facilities. Mr. Pilkington.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. Before you today is a motion to adopt amendments to Commission Rule 27 that I filed several weeks ago. There's also a proposed minute order that would allow the Commission to adopt the amendments to Rule 27. And I'm asking you today to adopt these provisions. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to try to answer them today.
Do I have a motion to adopt a minute order? Motion. Second. Motion and a second. Since you've got a motion and a second, I'll ask if there are any questions. Mr. Pilkington, yes.
We didn't have a markup copy. Could you give me a thumbnail sketch of what we changed between here and last time?
Sure.
Just briefly.
I'd rather you have the boots on the ground explain a little bit of this.
Well, I've run through it a couple of times. It's substantially different from what it was before. So
I can, with Jennifer coming up, I will say before she provides more information, a lot of the changes that we made were because the legislature made changes to the statutes that deal with these programs, the environmental officer program and the solid waste licensing committee and the licensing program under that. So we basically tried to make changes to conform with what the General Assembly changed in the last session. However, if you have specific questions on the changes, I would defer to Jennifer to provide that analysis.
At one time, there was a section in there that stated who were eligible to be environmental officers. I didn't see that. This, that, is that been taken out?
That's still there.
Is it still there? Okay, I'll get with you afterwards.
Okay,
I
I'll be happy
was
to-
looking for that. I didn't see it. So
okay,
that's fine. Thank
thank you.
Any other questions?
There are no more questions. I'll ask our secretary to call the roll on this minute order. Aye.
Lawrence Bengel?
Yes.
Branscombe? Yes. Chris Colplater? Al Eckert?
Yes.
Joe Fox?
Aye.
Richard McMullen?
Yes.
Doug Jones?
Yes.
Moss?
Yes.
Chris Racy?
Yes.
Yes.
Randy Vandergrift,
Yes.
Wes Moore.
Yes.
Okay, the minute order is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Roper.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a matter from the Arkansas Wastewater Licensing Committee. Mr. Healy here. Yes.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Before you is a memo recommending the appointment of a candidate to fill a vacancy on the committee. Gentleman's name is Heath Ward. He is the Utilities Director for the City of Springdale Water Utilities. Are there any questions?
Do we have a motion to approve the recommendation?
Motion.
Have a motion second? All right. Any questions regarding this appointment?
Who was the second?
Doug moved and Rusty second. Any questions? If there are no questions, please call the roll.
Scott Osborne,
Aye.
Lawrence Bengel.
Aye.
Judy West. Yes. Chris Colplager.
Aye.
Al Eckert.
Yes.
Joe Fox.
Aye.
Richard McCollum.
Aye.
Dustin Holmes.
Aye.
Rusty Moss. Chris Racy.
Yes.
Robert Reynolds.
Aye.
Randy Vandergrift.
Aye.
Wes Moore.
Aye.
We have 13.
Minute order is approved. And I would ask all the commissioners to make sure you sign this minute order before you leave here today.
2-minute orders and a resolution.
Make sure you sign before you leave, please. Is there any other matter that needs to come before the commission? Does any commissioner have an item?
I want to point out that although Commissioner Racy is a Yankee, he's from southern Pennsylvania.
We note that fact, yes. Thank you. And he likes to hunt and fish. So he's got our approval.
He does.
If I hear no other issues to be brought before the commission today, I'll declare. Thank you all.
Thank you.